Hello, today is the 7th of June 2025. As always, we'll do our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls, make our predictions, and it's the weekend, so we want to show a new longer term, or actually intermediate term count. The other one that I've been using isn't invalidated, but I have another one that might explain things with a bit more clarity. Okay, Friday we look for the pattern with the early high, that's this, and Monday should have the early low. This tends to be a rally day with a close near the high, that didn't happen. Failure is a straight line drop, which we got, and a close near the low, and that didn't happen. Now, timing doesn't run out until Monday's open, so if Monday's open, either we're going to gap up and hit a new high, or if this straight line drop is to believe, we're going to gap down, hit a new low. Now we had some valid sell signals on Thursday. I thought this was a wall into the close. I said I couldn't rule out one more fling up, and that's one more fling up. This is a reminder of what we said. These are the patterns for next week. We have a Caroline F19 date coming on Saturday. I'm not certain that's going to mean anything. A lot of these, when these work, they're nice, but a lot of them don't work. During the day, MEJT gave a buy signal and an ultimate buy signal. That's already played out. We had a bar 13 of DeMark sequential sell finishing early here. Here it's a bar 13 with no qualification. Now, his rule is it should have a big break within the first 3 days. If you're going to have a collapse, you're going to take out this TDST line within 3 days. That's not going to happen, so we're not going to have a collapse. But when these things work, they really should work fast. So if we're going to correct this by dropping, this means you're overextended. If you're going to correct it by dropping instead of by consolidating, correct it in terms of price rather than in terms of the time, you really should drop pretty much right from the open. So if this is to be believed, the straight line drop, we're going to drop right from the open. If the DeMark sequential sell is to be believed, we're going to drop right from the open most likely. This is the wall with gap pattern. Here's your wall, here's your gap. It's an unstable pattern. It tends to fill. It usually fills quickly. If it doesn't fill by Monday or at the very latest Tuesday's open, it doesn't have to fill anytime soon. But usually they fill quickly. If it does fill quickly, we're going to gap down Monday and find support under this low, and support doesn't have to hold, and that'll be a diamond on stilts pattern. Well, these are the trends lines that we've demonstrated a number of times. We broke through the trend line, came up right where these trend lines meet, and then dropped. Where these lines meet, that's a perfect resistance point. If this call for a top here is going to work, that should hold. And if we maintain a gap over this, I think the whole idea is going to fall apart. If this is going to work, which we don't know yet, if it is going to work, that should have been it. We've had a number of candidates before, and we said that didn't mean something else wouldn't work. But if this candidate doesn't work, I don't think the idea is going to work. Well, this was the old count I had, and the higher we go here, the less enthusiastic I am about it, so let's come up with a different count. We always say it's not just one valid count. Well, this is the long-term count. We had a clear ABC. We call this B right at the top, call this C right at the low. That's not going to be undercut. We call this bottom here, right at the low. We now can still call this 1. After that, the count isn't clear to me. What if this is a 1, ABC for A, and that's a B, and that's a C? C is equal to 2A, so this could have been wave 2. Doesn't break any rules. And if that's wave 2, and that's wave 1, what you want to see is a wave 3 having some kind of Fibonacci relationship to wave 1. It's right there. 3 is equal to 1. Could that be it? If that's it, you have to find some way to count this as a 5-wave structure. Well, I'm not really thrilled with the count, but I can do it. I mean, you have an ABC for A, B, C for B, ABC. You don't have fibs there, but it's a clear structure. And you have your ABC, C is equal to twice A. Now I can count this as a clear 5 waves up. I mean, here's your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, your 5. All these fibs work, and the catch is the height of wave 3 is less than the height of wave 2. Now, that's not what I normally see, but I don't think it breaks any rules. Now, maybe it's just 1 of 3, I don't know. But it doesn't break any rules. It counts this as an impulse, and it's equal to 1. So even though it's not the most aesthetic thing when it doesn't clear the height of wave 2, it's a clear 5-wave structure. It doesn't break any rules. And if it works, you really should be able to count this last business as 5 waves up. And that's not easy, but I can do it. I mean, I'm not thrilled with it, but I've got a 1, a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the fibs work for 3. There's your 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just completed 5 waves up. 5 is equal to 1. In red, all these things work. I mean, maybe that's it. It's a valid count. The bottom line is bears have a lot going for them here. And if it's right, we really should gap down smartly right at the open and with the minimum target of undercutting this low. And if we don't gap down smartly, if we don't do that, I'm really suspicious of the whole thing. Now, a lot of very knowledgeable traders are calling for a top in this area. I have a number of friends of mine who use time rather than price, and they have a top here. I'd be a lot happier if no one else were calling a top. When too many people call for a top, I get suspicious that something else is going on. Really good tops, no one should be calling it. But if we gap down smartly, we have all we need. And if we gap up here instead, I think the whole idea is going to fail big time. Don't forget, this invalidated the sell signal. When the signal's invalidated, it fails big, and that goes for this invalidation too. If we gap down, this invalidation is invalidated, and it fails big. So if we get this big gap down, it should be a pretty big drop before it's all done. It's not going to be over in a day. And if we gap up here, then I'm going to have to get my eraser out because the idea is going to be killed, I think. Monday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. Friday's pattern normally would rally into a high, and if that plays out, we should gap up Monday. Now, failure of the pattern shows a straight line drop, and that's a straight line drop, and it closed near the low. Now, time runs out Monday's open, so if that plays out, we should gap down Monday. The wall with gap pattern is unstable. It should fill at some point, and most often does so within a day. Day doesn't end until Tuesday opens. Friday's rejection of Thursday's sell signal needs to be rejected itself if we're topping here. The bottom line is that if bears are to win this one, there's little excuse for not gapping down strongly Monday. If anything less than that happens, I'd be suspicious of the call for a top here. And if you maintain a strong gap up, that vitiates numerous sell signals that we've gone over. And when valid signals fail, these are valid signals, when they fail big. So I think a pretty big move is starting. All we need to do to call a top is to see a straight line drop right from the open, and I have a number of things calling for that, not just the DeMark sell. If that happens, I think everything's in gear. We have the wave count, we have the trend line resistance, we have the wall and gap pattern, we have sentiment indicators on the equity only call put ratio. You just can't get more than this in an intermediate top. And if that doesn't happen, I think it fails big. So we'll see if we get the gap down at the open, a big gap down. And I mean, if you drop a little bit and keep falling immediately, that's the same thing. But if we don't get a stilt here, I'm going to be suspicious. I don't have any money on this yet, and if we get it, I'm going to put some to work. But I want to see that. I don't like taking a counter trend trade unless a lot of stuff is in my favor. I think it's in my favor, and if it works, I don't have to get in at the exact high as far as I'm concerned. So it's the pattern with the early low. I think the bears are in a position where they have to deliver now, or else they're not going to deliver, and that's today's call.